Hey, everybody, welcome to Rewriting Your Life. I'm here today with my friend Adam Leonard from Peter Sage's EMF group. Hey, Adam, how are you in the UK
Hey,
today?
I'm a little hot actually. We're having a sort of late heat wave, so I'm in my room with the curtains closed.
Yeah, if you want to open the window, if you hear a little noise, that's fine. Adam's over in the UK. They're having an Indian summer, right? And
That's right. Yes, yes.
here I am in the morning in Arizona, and it's rather cold. It's like fall. Everybody's going, no, no, we want more summer in Arizona. That's why we came here, and we're having fall. So we're going to talk a little bit today. Adam, we're going to talk about being grounded and being present, which is something I could really use a little more practice in. Um, I've had quite a bit of experience, but we tend to get away from these things. And also, we want to talk about the spirit world, which is really important because people need to know they're not alone. Absolutely not. And so, Adam, you are better than me to tell us a little about yourself. Adam is a psychic. He's been on TV. He's over in the UK. Adam, do a better job than that. Who's Adam
Yeah.
Leonard?
Who am I? And again, that is a deeper dive to go into that. But in terms of explaining the basics, I I've been a naturally born sensitive, I would put it, for many years, and I used to look at auras in people, imagine things in my head. I thought I was just a very imaginative child, right? Never really gone in school and just developed this side gradually. School went pretty bad for me. Just do a quick run. I developed myself naturally in a psychic development circle, and then eventually got sort of poached in a way by a company that was developing an interactive psychic TV show live on air. And I went from someone that was dabbling with connecting to spirit, working through astrology, cards, intuition, getting messages through, connecting with nature, and feeling like it was just a little bit of a side gig for me. Like it was like I was just doing a few little readings here and there, getting a little bit of cash in, to suddenly being on live TV as one of the youngest people to ever be on TV doing readings. And I was like, well, okay, this is a bit of a leap, but you know, uh, 20 years later, I've done so many more things, but I'm still connected to the company. But I wanted to add more to it, basically. But I became very attuned to energy. A lot of meditation practice, a lot of training, a lot of understanding of how to connect to spirit, the different dimensions of the realms. You know, uh, Astrology, crystals, energy work, healing, all of that kind of stuff. And I kind of mastered that over many, many years. And then I started to teach people how to spiritually develop. But I also, at the same time, kept one foot in psychology, right? Because I've got one foot in the spiritual world of creativity and one foot
Right.
um, in the world of what you'd consider the mainstream logical narrative, right? Just to keep myself sane in many ways, right? Am I going crazy? Right? This is sometimes part of the journey of spiritual development. Psychic development is keeping yourself grounded, as you mentioned. So part of my way of keeping grounded was to kind of leverage myself, right, with rationale. Right? Is there something my mind is creating? Is there a way that I am self-cultivating these impressions? Am I schizophrenic? Am I this? And consequently, I learned different ways to support people alongside channeling, and delivering messages. Because most of the time in my psychic practice work, people became reliant, right? Reliant on me to tell them the way things are going to go. When in fact, we are the masters of our own universe, as you know more than anyone, Raf. That I found that 10% of what I was doing within my consultations and my readings with people was linking into what's going on. I could quite quickly go, right, you're in a toxic relationship. This needs to change. This needs to change. You're also thinking of moving house, right? Blah, blah, blah. I'd understand. I'd get a download of everything that's going on. And then the rest of it was about like coaching people, right? Fixing their energy. You need to align here. If you can change your reality, you can choose to change your path, and sort of destroying this principle that we are karmically bound to live a predetermined universe in every single way. Well, we're not. There are such things of karma, but that goes down a deeper dive. But in principle, I was doing psychically linking in and then doing coaching, of which I then trained in counseling, hypnotherapy. I then even went off on a tangent wanting to help children. So I trained as a teacher. So I wanted to teach children how to grow into their spirituality. But that's very controlled by doctrine that's trying to suppress us. And I wasn't able to make the change I wanted there. And then I did a master's in psychology and then trained as a level 4 accredited coach, which is where I'm at now, where that I combine all of that together into what I call soul growth coaching, which is a combination of, all of my skill sets: counseling, hypnotherapy, energy healing, deep dive rewiring, spiritual development, consciousness upgrades, and channeling from my guide, of which we had quite a deep one of those the other day, didn't we, Raf?
Yes, we did. We had a fantastic. You are amazing, and I don't let a lot of people channel me. I've allowed 2, Adam's 1, and the results I've got are fantastic and very, what in the 3D we would call coincidental. Wow, thank you.
No, my guides will only channel to people who they believe are ready to receive. So obviously and this is one thing that we're delving into, the natural spirituality of things right now, because it's the kind of the next question, right? Is sort of, what is this whole spiritual thing all about, right? What are guides channeling and all this kind of thing. And for me, every single person has guides. They're all around us. Right? We can't see them in this physical reality, this 3D reality, because our souls chose to come here to be limited from our ultimate divine power of omnipotence, right? We chose to limit ourselves and to work through our own cycles, but in a different dimension that can see ours, almost like through a glass sphere. All around us, there are guides that we can connect to. And all we need to do is align our frequency, much like a Wi-Fi frequency, right? You just tune in the right code, raise your frequency, you can connect to them, you can understand them, and we can communicate almost in telepathic waves. And that's
Let me ask you this, Adam.
Yep.
Describe a way, let's give the peeps a gift about being grounded. For me, being grounded is when I moved out of Sedona, I brought some Sedona rock and I put in some rock out front. Partially because my assistant, my partner, my friend Anna was having seizures. And so walking barefoot out on the earth was a great way of being grounded. And of course, there's meditation, body tapping, and body and brain yoga. So tell us a great way to ground yourself.
Yeah, you've just mentioned some amazing ones. I mean, my first go-to for grounding is, first of all, to center myself on my breath is the first point of call, right? Just to be out of my head, so I'm not in my thoughts of the past or in my thoughts of the future, right? To be fully present, to breathe. And then to become present, first of all, like feel my bones. Like how often do we sit there and we feel, how do our bones feel? How do our muscles feel? Right? Connect with the feel state of your body. And beautifully you said that you did earlier, ground, literally put your feet in the earth. That has a wonderful connection to Mother Gaia itself. It's all the free electrons going through our electronic field that pick up from smog and all of the contaminants that exist in the digital world and from the energy of others and everything else just get clean from us. And we get powered, all of our energy. There's been studies shown that literally doing that for half an hour to 40 minutes, all of the cells just suddenly spread out. They get powered up and our energy starts flowing nicely. So those are the 2 avenues, is being present and physically grounded into the earth. I would also say enjoying food. Connect to the body, right? Connect to the physical pleasures and the physical, embracing to some degree the physical form that we're in. Because if we look at grounding, it's about being able to keep ourselves presently in the vibration that our physical form is in to ground to our form. We can connect to different dimensions, different pockets of realities, and where there are different entities existing, and we can float off and astral travel and all that stuff, right? But our anchor is in this dimension at this time. And so we need to connect to our body. So working out, even, physically running hard, enjoying the pleasure of eating a beautiful apple or something, or whatever it is, connect with this present sensation of the now. And this is when we ground.
I love the apples from our orchard. They make me feel so connected. They help me feel so connected. I'm sorry, they don't taste like the ones at the grocery store. And yeah, being grounded. My friends, let's not leave the body out of the mind, body, spirit experience. That is so important. Movement is key. Breathing, oxygenating, hope you're sourcing your water, and movement, and being present, being here now, getting out of your head. All my experiences as we move into discussion about the spiritual world, all my tremendous, amazing experiences in the spiritual world, there's one thing they had in common, and every experience didn't have a whole lot in common. I call them a plethora of events. But one thing they had in common is I have to recognize I was out of my mind. I was not in my head. There was no thinking intention when spirits appeared to me, when UFOs came up to me, when spirits spoke to me, when they showed themselves to me, ever since I was a kid, when they appeared, when my I call him an archangel for want of a better word back then, when he appeared to me, who was looking over me, and which you connected me with. Thank you so much. That was remarkable. The coincidences there were not coincidences that you mentioned. And so when you connect to your spirit world, tell us about that. Adam connects to his monk, as he calls, and he's spoken to me, and he's connected to my spirit guide, one of them, one very powerful spirit guide named Ray Toon, and which he named for me, which is remarkable because that's my middle name, Ray. And so he has appeared to me several times throughout my life, in person, in the fourth dimensional attraction of the earth energy, and or in person. And so tell us about the spiritual world, which, Adam, we know that most of the people in the world are going through the life wide awake with their eyes asleep with their eyes wide open. There we go. I'm going to hand it to you now to talk about the spirit world.
Yes, and one thing that it's very important to define with the spirit world is that there's a lot of media out there, right? Films and all of this magic that's thrown out there, and the spirit world is far more beautifully subtle than that.
Yes, I'd like to mention that we both have a lot of television experience. I've been mostly behind the camera. I worked with ABC and others. And the spirit world, my friends, is much more incredible than anything you can see on TV. Thank you for mentioning that, Adam.
Yeah, and how we access the spirit world is far more subtle. You see, most people don't see the spirit world because their minds are being conditioned by flashy screens, and they're used to seeing things that are very dramatic, right? Now, we're not taught, for example, to see the energy in between things. Like, how often are we taught to see the air, right? Watch the air, like, in between where you're looking at now. See if you can look at the air in between things, right? And send our feelings out. So what it is, the spirit world is actually a representation of our feel state as we connect outside of our self. And it is often predominantly portrayed inside our inner spiritual world projector, the third eye, pineal gland, that area, right? So most of the time, even though what there is there was a crossing. Now, the ancient shamans used to do a specific technique to connect the heart chakra to the eyes, right? And they used to weave energetic patterns around. And so it would come from the heart and up and over behind the ears and then connecting here. And they would even have dots and things around it, but they would be activating specific energy points, which allows you to physically connect physical vision with what you can sense. All right. So essentially what we're dealing with is sensing different vibrations that the normal senses are unable to sense. So, we all know that our eyes can only sense a certain, octave of visual frequencies, the same with our hearing, but our heart has a vibrational energy that extends in our aura outside of ourselves. And it has the capacity to feel other energy. And every bit of energy that we feel is transmitted, and it comes in, and we feel from the gut and we feel from the heart. And then that's translated up into our brain, portrayed into an image of things that the five senses can't understand or don't understand. Okay, the five senses are purely for this 3D realm. So the spirit world is all understandings of or all perceptions of things that do not use the senses. Okay, now it portrays it in your head as something that at first can be misconstrued as an imaginative process. All right, an inner world journey. So many shamans, Ayurvedic rituals, that kind of thing, they induce this journey into the spirit realm, right? But most people would experience that as literally going into almost like a trance-like state, right? But this is how we connect to the spirit world. Now, in some cases, our minds are switched off, like you said, being out of your mind, so out of the cognitive mind processes, where the spirit world blends with this one in the way where that we are actually having an out-of-body experience. And so we see a merging of two-dimensional planes. Now, and in that case, certain scenarios where the visitations can occur. But what you'll find is during that time, if you look at your brainwave frequencies, they're going from, say, high beta, and they suddenly slip down into theta and delta, and you're actually having an out-of-body experience where you're connecting to a different dimension. So other people observing you, unless they're on the same wavelength of you, they would just see you going, oh, wow, what's happening?
Yes.
They won't actually see that. Right? Because their energy is not vibrating on that same frequency.
And they're still in their five senses. It's very interesting what you said about seeing the air, because at a moment right after my my friend and assistant died, I went down to the garden, and I had no intention, I had no will, I had no thinking. I literally saw the energy of me and everything. It was the same energy. I was looking at these tiny little billions of glowing lights. Everything was of the same energy. However, I did not see the energy of the air. I was not in that deep state. And it's important to point out that that's where the energy of everything we could ever need, want, or witness, experience is always here in the ether.
Yeah, it's all around us. And really all spiritual connection to the spirit realm is, if we break down, spirit is simply just life-giving energy of multiple dimensions, right? And our ability to sense it, to feel sense that, because it's feelings being turned into images now. And this is where we get into the deeper aspects of clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, right? So the platform of our five senses is used as a way to communicate on the higher levels. So when we are able to, where we can send our feelings out to someone else, all we're doing is feeling and then sending our feeling out to someone else. And this is where we can literally feel feedback. And this is how spirit will appear. We'll send our feelings out and we'll feel a different vibration to our own vibration, like feeling another Wi-Fi field.
Yes.
And then the information communicated back, like an echo or a ripple effect, is what we receive as an impression. And it's like a bit like a sonar from like a dolphin. You send your energy out, you feel out, and then the feedback forms into an impression in my mind. So when I first did this is where I was in a meditation, I was sending my feelings out, and I would be asking, setting the intention, it's very clear, of who is here guiding me. And I would put myself in a blank space. It's very important for any kind of spiritual development. You must be blank, okay? Blank in thought, still, present, work through your feelings so that you're in a still, peaceful state, so that you are completely neutral, right? And all that's going through your head is you're in space with no stars, just completely black. And you ask the question. And then at that point, you send your feelings out, and then whatever appears is the answer, right? If you've got nothing else conditioning you, whatever appears is the answer, especially if you're connected, right? So, and this is where I got this very clear HD image of my ascended Shaolin monk, and he had his staff there and his Shaolin gear and his bald head, and he talked to me in this beautifully silky voice. It was like, he actually told me his name that I can't remember now. He said, "I am," and I cannot remember it. And I said, "What?" And he said, "Just call me monk." And I was like, okay. From then on, I called him monk because his name was something I couldn't understand. And this was at my earlier development aspect. So my clairaudience, my ability to hear names and words, wasn't quite as developed. My clairvoyance was very crisp and very clear, and always has been. But the clairaudience had to catch up a little bit to my other abilities. Clairvoyance being the ability to see, like in HD videos and images and that kind of thing. So he appeared, and then I would go off on a little journey with him. He appeared, and then he moved to the side, and then I was in an environment. I was literally in it, in a 3D world. Like, going, wow, I'm on a beach, I'm doing this, and then he would guide me, and then he would show me words in books. And this is where the journey of self-development went. I would ask a question, what am I supposed to be doing now? Where should I focus? And then I'd be guided on a journey. And again, this is an inner world journey. And I might be guided to a cave or a specific name, whatever it would be. And this is where the spiritual journey from within develops itself. And it's within this inner place of using our senses and seeing it within where the majority of spiritual spirit world dimension exists. Now, there are some, and I can do it, where there's a bleach over, where that when your belief in the energy subconsciously heightens itself so much so, and you train and you weave the energy together, you can see the spirit world projected over your senses. Okay. I mean, these eyes aren't designed to see energy, right? They're just not. But what can happen is the emotional ability to sense it can superimpose something over the top of your vision. One way that you can do this is when the vision starts to not be so effective. So in dusk, it's a really time you can do it. When the light is dimming, it's starting to get dusk. And just when there's enough light to keep it light, but it's not gone dark yet, right? And this is where that you can rub your hands together vigorously and look at the air between your fingertips. And you will be able to see little white or blue sparks buzzing like chi through your fingertips, and often like an opaque white glow. There's often in the periphery of your vision, right? And keep your eyes, like, don't focus, right? It's one of these things that the second you focus directly on exactly where, you will lose it. So it's keeping your eyes almost like a magic mirror, where that you just kind of almost don't focus. And it's like your eyes are open, but you're not directly focusing on anything. You're kind of staring blankly. And then just move your hands in and around, and you'll notice that there will be a kind of weird glow. Your eyes will go out of focus, and you'll have the tendency to kind of blink and try to reset. And the moment you blink and reset, you'll go crystal clear again. And then you leave them and let your eyes sort of dull again and do that. And you'll see different colors. I mean, at first I was seeing lots of like a white, almost like a clearish, that haze you get above like fire when it's burning and it ripples, right? But it's clear, but it's rippling.
Yeah.
You see that outside, like above your hand, and you're like, whoa, what's going on here? And then you realize that it's got a certain haze. It'll be like a whitey, bluey, greeny haze. And that's what it was for me. But sometimes, depending on your aura, it changes.
And these are your experiences that you're describing very well. And I love that, because I always ask people, please describe me your experience so we can help you. We can witness your experience as opposed to just a few things about it. And I think it's important to point out that a lot of people don't know that everything we see with our five senses is actually in the past. And the reason being is because the way our brain works is our vision works is we're looking, our eyes take something, it sends it back to our back of our brain, and there's a processing center, and it sends us to our brain a video of what we're looking at. And a lot of times our beliefs that are holding us back will change what we're seeing. I've witnessed that when I go into a home, and this was a very powerful example. When I go into a home and I help people, I tell them, no, the ghosts that you're seeing are not evil spirits. That is a judgment. They're just an energy, they're a spirit that maybe doesn't know their past. And when I tell them that, when I teach them that they're just spirits and they may be lost, they may direction, they may need your permission to pass, to let go of earth, to let go of life, to go to the light, then they start seeing them different. They start seeing what was before a threatening image turns into, oh, just a young lady dressed nicely. So I talked to her the way you told me to, Raphael. So using our five senses is not going to serve us in the greater dimension. And so what we're talking about now is using more of our other five senses, right?
That's right. They're almost enhanced versions that
Mm-hmm.
they use our ability to understand visual concepts, but it's all done through. It's used as a medium, like to feel energy and portray it in a form that we're used to. It is a good way to put it. But you beautifully said there that beliefs, because we'll perceive information that is a fraction of what is, but
Mm-hmm.
if we're receiving lots of information from sources that come from our other more spiritual senses, our sixth sense, if you want to put it there are many more senses, but
Mm-hmm.
our beliefs will filter out 99% of what is
Right.
right. And then it will be formulated through what we think is most effective to see, right? And it's the same case where that we're walking around town. Sometimes if we're looking specifically for a signpost with a name on it, we will ignore the fact that there's probably hundreds of people walking around with all the details and the car. We don't notice all of those. We just notice that thing. And it's the same for, we will be receiving lots of energy, lots of different colors, codes, extraterrestrial downloads, all this stuff. But if we can't comprehend it, we don't even believe it's there, and we won't even believe it. It will go into our awareness, but it won't be computed. It will just be like data on a computer. It'll be like data that you receive. But how many times have you received a data file on a computer and you go to open it and it says, there is no program to open this file.
It's
right?
there somewhere, but I don't see it.
You've got the information, but unless your beliefs are in line with the data being received, you won't be able to open that. So you'll have spirit might be talking to you, but unless you believe it's there, unless you're open to the fact that it's there and you're able to send your attention to it to understand it, you don't have the file to open that information, so to speak.
And the stage here for setting all this, because everybody is capable of experiencing anything that we have, is to do the work, is to do the meditation. Yes, when I lost everything, when I lost my newspaper in what it was July 19th of 2009 at 4:30, 4:24 p.m. driving west, I had my first UFO ship come up to me. We'll talk about that later. But I was looking outside myself, but I didn't, aside from the experiences that were revealed to me when I was younger, I didn't start in my adult life to have a lot of visitations until I was working with some very powerful South Korean teachers who were teaching me to meditate. Okay, here's a guy who can't count to 10. I can't take 10 breaths. One, look, a squirrel, right? And they forced me, to count to 100 and then take 300 breaths. So yes, all we have to do is do the work, is to do the meditation, to ground ourselves, and then we begin to develop our other our other five senses, right?
Yeah, definitely. Taking that time out to be aware of what is often a more subtle sense, right? To simply, as we did earlier, to rub your hands together vigorously for 30 seconds and then feel the warmth of a magnetic tingle, and then get used to feeling that's around your body and feeling the how the energy feels just outside of your skin, and just getting present with your energetic body. We all have an energetic body. We're not taught about it because it opens us up to a greater power, but this is where all this lies, and everyone can learn it. All right. There are some people that have maybe naturally opened genetic codes, so they're a bit more open to it, but we can all learn to unlock it, you see. Just like someone could have an amazing voice. They're born with a beautiful voice box, but you can train your
Yes, you
voice, right?
do. Think
Well, actually,
about man. Think about man going through the millions of years without TV, without radio, without the induction, and they spent their life walking through the plains, maybe hunting, looking, being present. So mankind for millions of years, or however long we've been here, has experienced being present more so than today. But because of these many movies that we've been the star of, these many lives, we have we have had this experience, we've had this development, a lot of us, and so we it would serve us to get back to that, as you're saying, being present, right?
yeah,
That's something
being
that is
present and
lost in our
aware.
culture.
Yeah, definitely. And stillness, the mind, my guide said to me, this statement is: the flaw of humanity today is that the mind is nurtured to grow far too much, and it takes up the space
Yes.
it where the wisdom of the heart cannot be felt. Okay, so it's like it's overgrown like a mental virus. The mind is either in the past or in the future, thinking, and then when it's not doing that, it's stimulated by flashy screens all the time, getting its dopamine hit. It's like stillness to get to a state. And when you meditate, and this is what your masters taught you, when you can get to a stage where there is nothing going on here, there is no thought, there is no narrative running on, you're there feeling a state of utter stillness and beautiful connection to feelings. Now, feelings are far more powerful than thoughts. Right? Everything comes from our feelings. Right? If we, if, and this is the thing with spiritual development, right? You can open up your third eye. You can perhaps develop your ability to see spirit. But if
And
you
this is totally
believe,
measurable. It is
yeah,
totally electronically measurable. Your pineal glands is stronger than any radio wave. That is a scientific fact. It's not a theory like
yeah,
all the bullshit we've been taught in schools. And Adam, could you tell us, please, how can we get a hold of you? He has a wonderful soul growth coaching practice, and he has wonderful courses that he's developing and changing with his feedback from his clients. So tell us where we can see you, how we can get a hold of you, and how you can help us.
yeah. Well, I'm on all of the normal sort of social media platforms. So Facebook, just Adam Leonard. You'll see an image of me sitting in a stream with my arms outstretched.
Yeah,
That'll be
saw
me.
it.
And the same on Instagram. It's Soul Growth Coaching, all one word. And again, with me on on LinkedIn, sorry, that'll be Adam Leonard on LinkedIn. Same picture. I do have a website that is Soul Growth Coaching. Sorry, soulgrowthadventures.com.
Soulgrowthadventures.com. Right.
Yeah, it's actually my older website. Has lots of information on it still. I'm actually creating a newer website at this moment in time, but you can connect to me mostly via Facebook and Instagram.
And how can we find your Penn site?
My pen site. I'll my actual link to that here. Let me just.
Can I put that link below in the on this post?
You can, yes.
What
I'll
what Is that what you would prefer?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I could put that in the link here. You know, for those of that might be able to, it's just pensite.com/x/
Adam
Adam
Leonard.
Leonard.
Excellent. Yeah, I'll put that in the post. That's a great way of getting hold of you. And Adam, can I ask you? I love to ask people like you this because I don't get a whole lot of opportunity to meet people like you, my dear friend. We've been working together for about 6 months with Peter Sage's EMF group through and all the wonderful people who work, Anya and Lazcor. And
Yes.
I want to ask you, what is your message to the people?
Be very aware of what your vibration is at.
Your
You
state.
can, yeah, your state, your vibrational state, right? Everything is created from the inner you. Okay. You can choose to feel happy just by feeling it. You can raise your vibration, destroy the I am happy whens, right? I am happy when, or I feel successful when. Feel it, be it. Realize that you have the
Now.
mastery over yourself. You feel it right now. All right. And when you practice that, it's a muscle, right? You might sit there going, how can I just sit there and feel happy? Train yourself. I do a little practice. Just do this at home, and it takes practice feeling angry and then frustrated and then neutral and then happy and then ecstatic, enjoy, and then background to angry. Practice that. You'll realize that you can do it, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually stop feeling the negative ones and start switching on your ability to switch on the positive ones. And you'll realize that there's a feedback loop, right? The more happier you are, the more life gives you what you are, right? And life treats us how we treat ourselves. So treat ourselves kindly, treat ourselves lovingly, and be the person we want to be. Set our feelings, set our state. And we can do that. We have the control to do that. We're just told we don't. And we are deluded into consumerism. You'll feel happy when you have this beautiful person or this great job or this car or whatever. Cut that crap out. That's not true.
Be happy right now. And so I like Peter Sage's metaphor of be the actor, not the character. The actor controls what the character, his attitude, what you're thinking, everything, he or she. And so step back and be the actor and control the character. It's getting in touch with your higher self in a way. Our body serves us. Our body is ours. It's not us. Our mind serves us. Our mind is ours. It's not us. And so these are practices which allow us, which mankind has been doing before for millions of years. There's nobody we need to look at in the past that is going to save us. We need to grow our own soul, as Ilchi Lee, when we're sitting in in the creek doing a water meditation, very powerful energy teacher. He told me, it doesn't help you to know me. It doesn't help you to be with me. You have to do your own work. You have to grow. Get that hand out of there. You have to grow your own soul. And so soulgrowthadventures.com, you can find out about Leonard, and I'll post his pen site down below, where he's working on his redeveloping his courses, which are amazing. Um,
Yeah.
Adam, it's so amazing. Thank you. I'm so glad we did this. Is there anything you'd like to say in closing?
Simply, this has come to you for a reason. If you're watching this, it's for a reason. You're at the right time to either reach out to either myself or Rafia. It's time for you to evolve, grow your soul, heighten your vibration.
Excellent. And your gift today is you offer do you you have an intro meeting that you can click on. Where is that?
That's right. You'll find it on my pen site link. You can
Right.
book in a complimentary call where we can connect and see if we can work well with each other.
Excellent. So if you're watching this video, you get a free consultation with Adam Leonard.
You do
Yay!
indeed. You do. It come through.
Thank you, Adam.